So on page 36, he has some interesting parts here about technology. So he says that, I'll just paraphrase, he says that technological advancement is what he calls the destiny of mankind, an irresistible tendency. But what his point is that that a lot of people think that technological innovation is actually not a product or a cause of capitalism. So he says here, they were not an achievement, or at least people believe that they were not an achievement of classical liberalism, free trade, laissez-faire, and capitalism. They will therefore go on under any other system of society's economic organization. What he's saying, though, is that people think this. They think that technological progress will go on under any economic system, that somehow that they're disconnected. But they're not. They're not disconnected. What better system could you possibly have for innovators and people who want to try and build new things than an open society that's not prejudiced against change or technological advance, and certainly not a society in which only a few people can engage in inventing work. Well, there's for example, a society that there's like some council, like probably in like a George Orwell 1984 kind of situation, where there's some like Ministry of Progress, right? And no one else can invent anything. Like I think a better example might be Rand's Anthem, a little novella where progress was banned and no one could invent anything except for some small council, right? So you've got like a very exclusive scientific group, and the general public are not allowed to engage in invention or inquiry or even writing in some cases. That's obviously a closed society. And that's a kind of society that might be supported by anti-capitalist people, right? It's not a free society. But what better society, of course, could you have than one in which you have an open society, you have people who are allowed to write on any topic they wish, you don't have free speech, or you don't have speech laws that permit do not permit certain kinds of speech, for example, which again is supported by usually Bernie Sanders type people, anti-capitalist type people. And you also have the ability to make as much money as you possibly can from your inventions. You can become filthy rich. Well, what a great incentive for people to really take a big risk and try to invent new things that people might want to buy. But again, we have this anti-capitalist mentality that puts wealth caps on people, or wants to regulate all kinds of things that don't allow people to engage in free inquiry and invention. And you have all these stopgaps on people who just want to try to kind of maintain what Mises calls the destiny of mankind, of course. And that's this idea of progress and technological improvement and things like that. Advancement in the experimental sciences and application of those sciences to new things. What better society, of course, that would promote those things than a society in which you can make as much money as you can and you're more or less free to engage in invention and entrepreneurship and things like that. But again, it seems like that all the qualities of an anti-capitalist come in that would bar us from progress and would favor a very restricted elite group of people who would then be tasked with this. But of course, I think if we take any knowledge of history, it would suggest that the more people that you can get engaged in this thing, and the more people you can also filter in terms of who can engage in these things and who cannot, the more people there are, the more we'll have a chance of having very good people who can engage in this stuff. And those very good people are not necessarily going to be in this ministry of progress that the anti-capitalists will tend to favor.